My day started at around 10:08, and I barely had time to set up for eastbound 18N. NS-18N is a loaded autorack train from Conway, Pennsylvania to Doremus, New Jersey. A few minutes later, NS-22V flies by. NS-22V is a daily intermodal train from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to Elizabethport, New Jersey. After 22V cleared, we hit the road to explore some of the yards in North Jersey. Our first stop was the oil refinery in Sewaren. 2 red motor cars are fenced in at the refinery. These cars are used to switch out all the tankers that come in from various ethanol trains. Driving down the road, we met with the rear of an ethanol train that was reversing into the yard. We all got out of the car, then began to proceed towards the railroad crossing. Eventually, the power came into sight, and we were able to conclude that this was CSX K682. It was neat to see a pair of UPGEs on it. After K682, we arrived at Port Reading Yard. We were able to get a nice vantage point of all the locomotives that were sitting there. These locomotives are often used on the Conrail locals in the area. Port Reading Yard links with the Port Reading Secondary and the Garden State Secondary at CP Ron. After Port Reading, we hit the road for Tremley Point in Linden. There were a couple of neat lash-ups at Tremley Point, the first being an all-UP lash-up that came in on CSX K648, a loaded ethanol train from the UP in Chicago, Illinois. The other neat lash-up was an NS lash-up that was sitting on the Chemical Coast main line with an SD60E and an SD70 Ace. We were then told that NS 8098, the Conrail Heritage Unit, was sitting in Linden by the old Walmart, so we hopped back in the car and drove down there. Sure enough, NS 8098 was there, alongside 67D, which was switching out the cars at the refinery. NS 8098 would leave on that train later on in the day. In 2012, Norfolk Southern specially painted 20 of their locomotives for their 30th anniversary. These locomotives were painted to commemorate 20 of NS's predecessor railroad companies, which had large roles in forming the modern-day NS. NS ES44AC number 8098 represents the Consolidated Rail Corporation, most commonly referred as Conrail. Conrail was founded in 1976 after the fall of the Penn Central and various other railroads in the Northeast. Conrail was successful with improving northeastern railroading. However, in 1999, Conrail fell and was split between NS and CSX. Conrail lives on through the Heritage Unit, the many original paint units on various different short lines in the U.S., the Conrail Historical Society, and the Conrail Shared Assets Operations, otherwise known as CSAO. There are also various railroad museums that have preserved or restored original Conrail relics, such as the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, and the B&O Railroad Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. We then drive by Phillips 66, one of the many oil refineries in North Jersey. I saw a very interesting locomotive here, a WAMX MP15AC. This unit still wears Wisconsin and Southern paint and was originally built for the Milwaukee Road. We passed by some CSX Gevos at Port Newark Yard. As well as the usual double-stack containers. Sitting at the fuel pads was CSX SD40E3 number 1706. There are only 13 of these units on CSX's roster.
That's a very interesting engine.
We then saw two 6-axle EMDs switching out a train at Oak Island. CSXT8886, the trailing unit, is very unique. It has an SD45-2 car body, although it was rebuilt to SD40-2 specs. It is the only unit on CSX's roster with an SD45-2 car body.
Yeah, Eco.
While the train in the yard continued to switch, 1706 left the fuel pad. The switch was then thrown for 1706 to reverse onto the other track. We then heard rumbling and saw two GEs fly by overhead on the point of NS-20K. "1706 began to reverse onto the other track. We were then informed that Amtrak 606, the Coca-Cola wrapped ACS-64, was leading a train to DC, so we decided to dash over to Secaucus. On our way, we passed by Norfolk Southern Croxton Yard.
There we go.
Better photo. Oh, there's more engines on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, we're about. Oh, no, that's about.
We pulled into Secaucus shortly before 606 was scheduled to go through. Unfortunately for us, they did not let us on the platform since we did not have a ticket. As a result, we missed it. It was about that time where one of my friends had to head back home, so we dropped him off at Newark Penn Station. The rest of us decided to spend the evening at Union. We mainly saw New Jersey Transit commuter trains, but two freight trains made their way into our evening. Shortly thereafter, a headlight appeared in the distance and our scanners went off. It was NS-20W with 2 GEs on the point. NS-20W originates as BNSF Q Lacnic, which runs from Los Angeles, California to Chicago. At Chicago, NS picks it up and brings it to Croxton. Another New Jersey Transit train enters the station. Union is pretty interesting. Take a look at this switch that moves the New Jersey Transit train next to the platform.
Yes, this is horrible.
This track is called a gauntlet track. It has another purpose which you will see later on.
Well, not as it just wants when it
Look how much taller I am than these guys in the windows.
Oh, X-Cab car!
With the final light of the day, CSX Q301 enters Union. CSX Q301 is a manifest train that runs from Oak Island, New Jersey to Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Shown here, the gauntlet track keeps freight trains away from the platform to prevent damage. This train works 4 yards en route to Rocky Mount. These yards include Willsmere, Delaware, Bayview Yard in Baltimore, Maryland, Aca Yard in Richmond, Virginia, and Collier, Virginia. The sun sets on the horizon as our final train of the day enters the station. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like down below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you never miss any of my new uploads. I'll see you down the line.